Hope Channel, changing lives.
Good evening and welcome to the Law Chambers, where legal matters are discussed from a Christian perspective. The name, Anita Delight. And last week we began a journey, and hopefully we'll be able to conclude part one, that part of that section today. And the idea is to educate. And so at the end of this program, I'm praying and hoping that you would have learned something, anything at all. And that's my idea. So we are looking at law in business. So this season 5, we are looking at law in business. Okay. And so we are looking at the banking and the financial matters. That's what we started last week, and that's what we're going to discuss this week. I told you specifically that we are not going to be so theoretical today. Last week we did most of the theory. Today we are going to continue, and this time going to be more practical. See, but I showed last week. Now why you're home, so hurry up and finish it quickly, and let's continue with this week. So last week, unfortunately, Ini wasn't here, and you know why he wasn't here. Today he is here, and he's here, and he's complimenting Ekuya so well. So let me just dive in and let you know that if you have any questions, you can go to Facebook. The Law Chambers, you go there, it's there. You just ask your question away. If you have your phone with you on WhatsApp, you can WhatsApp us on 0559 680066. Ask your questions there. And your contribution, not just any question, maybe you have contributions. You want to really contribute to what we are doing. Please do go there and let us have your take on it. Know also that on that page, all our previous programs are there. So you can go back and watch. And then who knows, maybe there'll be a prize giving day one day and you'll be the winner. All right. So as I said, I have two very distinguished personalities here, a lady and a gentleman. The lady, you saw her last week. And so these personalities, this is their field. Okay, so they're going to help us understand the law matters in some business arena, okay, in terms of financial, contractual, in terms of way, okay. So I'm going to introduce them, but before I do that, let's go for this short commercial break. We'll be right back.
Millionaire, say. I wonder where they are getting this information from. I wonder which God they are preaching on behalf. Unimunoa, Sanamano, and who here? And who here Sabato Giant, Akoba for the who here, Sobasa, and who here, Sobatium, and who here across the Unimpa, a faddy and slow, and now would they acquire him. Cancer Bonsan by Shishimo, was she Nimimo? Can you reach that point and say, Rade? Bon Samba Mimo, Rade Boamie, Bon Samba Mimo, Abufu Mimo, Debio, a Jumamo Mimo, Debio, and Sanom Mimo, addiction of Mimo, and Secro Mimo. Is God trying to hide something from me? What is it all about? That you can eat everything in the garden, but this tree don't touch it. She was under the tree. The devil always finds you at the location where your temptation is. The devil can tempt man to sin, but the devil does not sin for man. You are a sinner because you cannot sin unless you mentally detach yourself from God. The minute you start doubting him, that's when the devil gets opportunity to put you to the test. Don't allow the devil to put doubt in you.
In his presence Showing this and every Friday at 6:30 p.m. only on Hope Channel Ghana.
Happy birthday. Ghana is 68 oh. Charlie? Ghana is 68 years old already. Ay. I don't know what we are happy about, but still, happy birthday. So let me introduce my guest, right? So I have with me Mr. Albert Nii Ayitego. Nii, as he's popularly called, is the head of finance and investment, okay, at the Ghana Commodity Exchange, and he's had this experience in financial management for over a decade. He is a chartered management accountant. He was awarded the CFO, that's the Chief Financial Officer of the Year in 2024. He also won the 40 Under 40 Awards for Authorship and Creative Writing category in 2024. He was also part of the 50 most influential CFOs in Ghana for the year 2023. He was also part of the top 20 public sector finance leaders in Ghana for outstanding merit and achievement in leadership in finance, of course. In 2023, he holds an MBA in finance with distinction from Coventry University, UK, and holds a chartered professional membership with the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants. He is also an ICAG member and also part of the Chartered Institute of Securities and Investment, UK. He holds a first-class honors degree in Bachelor of Business Administration Accounting option from the Valley View University, and has a certification by the Ghana Stock Exchange for investment and securities. When it comes to finance, I will tell you he's up there. He has worked for 7 years with Stanbic Bank Ghana in credit risk management and banking operations, and received a Beyond Excellence Award in 2017 for service excellence. Everything he touches turns to gold, in a nutshell. That's what I'm trying to say. And he has authored a few books. He has authored a few books. How to raise capital for your startup business, and Money Health, how to diagnose your financial awareness, right? So he has these books for sale. If you're interested, I'll tell you all about it later. But most importantly, next week we'll be asking some few questions. If you're able to answer the questions, you get one of these books. Who knows, you can even get both books. There will be no need for you to buy, yeah? So listen to us well, watch last week well, listen to us very well this week, and you get this book next week. Nii, everything you touch turns to gold.
We are trying.
I hope everything is fine.
Yeah, I'm good. Everything is fine.
And
doing well.
Under 40 and outstanding. How are you doing that?
Oh, basically, it's a way of always giving back to society. So you want to share your knowledge and help people. And so it comes to me very naturally. I have the passion to share knowledge, impact, and also help where I have to help. So basically, that naturally brings all the recognition. So we are grateful to God, and we continue to work and serve. I call myself a humble servant who is contributing my quota towards society's development, basically. And so, I'm happy to be here.
Society's development, Ghana is 68 years.
Yes.
What was there to be happy about?
So Ghana is 68 years. You can see we are all represented in our African.
I know,
right? I think we should celebrate our country. 68 years, there's a lot more progress we can do, but we've come a long way, and so I think we should be happy as Ghanaians and continue to be hopeful that we would see the country that we want to see in future. And each and every one of us as a Ghanaian has a role to play to continue to develop our country. So in any small way that we all can, let's continue to do that. And we all have that responsibility.
Should be hopeful.
Yes.
So hopefully
we have a role to play.
Right. So I also have a lady with me. You know, I like to balance things up. You already know Ikuya, right? You already know Ikuya. She was here last week. And so she's the president of the Association of Women Accountants Ghana. I remember when last week after the program, a few young ladies called me. I'm an accountant. You know, I want to meet you. I'm like, hey, people, relax. Relax for me, okay? Don't worry. You need her. Mentorship is very, very important. So don't worry. I'll link you up with her, okay? So that she can help you with it. And then when she spoke about her husband, how her husband is so supportive, I got home and my cousin was like, I know the one come about, I'm in trouble. I beg. But I mean, some of the men are doing so well, and so they need to be recognized. And more so with International Women's Day coming up on Saturday. So I have with me Ikuya. Ikuya, she's a chartered accountant with over 30 years. She's the president of Association of Women Accountants, director of finance at the Adenta Municipal Assembly. Someone called me, Ben called me and said he's going there to go and do something. I should give Ikuya's contact. Adenta Assembly, please go and do your work there. Don't go and look for Ikuya, I beg you. You want that connection, come and pay. Come and sponsor my show, you understand. Also, she's a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana. She's also a fellow of the Professional Management Consultants Ghana. She's a chartered tax accountant. She holds an LLB from Wisconsin University, an executive master of business administration. She's also a financial person, Institute of Internal Auditors in Ghana, and so many, right? All the accolades. You go and just watch last week's, and you realize she's a woman of substance. Ikuya, International Women's Day, Saturday. Always Women's Day, Women's Day. What's happening to the men? What are we doing to our men?
Thank you, Anita. I want to say in advance, Happy International Women's Day to all women.
We collect.
This year, we say the time is now. We have always been saying with words, but this year we are putting actions behind the words to get all the empowerment that we need. Even with the affirmative at 2024, I think that also even helps us as women. But Anita, with all this, I also say that we need to also look at the boy child. Because in all the environments, the girl child meets with the boy child.
An example of the KNUST guy, an excellent and brilliant girl.
That's it.
And so irrespective of how you bring the girl up, she'll be mingling and marrying the boy who is down there. So if you don't help the boy to come up.
Yes. So it is time that we also look at that.
So how do we do that?
So it's more cultural. It's how we are actually brought up. So the culture is actually ingrained in societal beliefs and norms. And so it's important that we raise, as much as you'd raise the girl child in a way that becomes very beneficial to society, you have to apply same values. You see, the world is changing so fast and societal norms are changing so fast that both gender have roles to play to make the society better. So that's what we should be.
Because if you come to my church, for instance, okay,
right.
My church has women ministry. They have the Adventist men. Well, most often the Adventist men, it's not working anyways. But the women ministry is working, and the women will always call the young ladies, come and let's teach you how to take care of your husband, so that no woman will snatch your husband. Come and let's teach you how to cook, how to clean. Styles, you understand?
Right.
The styles of keeping your husband. And the men and boys are always roaming about. I'm like, who is teaching this boy how to take care of a woman? How to respect a woman, how to protect a woman, how to be the head, spiritual, mental, physical of the home. The boy is left to go and wander and learn something, while the girl is being groomed. So girl child. She gets to KNUST, level 400. She mingles with that boy child who wasn't taught anything and groomed well, and he kills her.
So it basically starts from the home. And as fathers, and I'm speaking for myself as a father, we have that responsibility to bring up our children in a way that they grow holistically. When I'm talking about holistically, spiritually, academically, intellectually, even the right cultural norms and values that you have to be able to uphold as a responsible individual and citizen to be able to contribute to the society. So it starts from the home, and we all have that responsibility to
Anita, and I also
do,
think that it is not only the responsibility of the fathers.
Yeah.
Because as women, we always say that it is impossible without women.
Right.
So we, as women, we also have a responsibility towards our boy child.
Right. Excellent.
In as much as you are bringing up your girl child, you need to balance it.
Yeah.
You are teaching your girl child, as you said, how to sweep, how to cook. Now we all go to work. We come and we are all tired. If your boy child is also knows how to cook, at the end of the day, it balances. Where the lady comes. We have moved from that angle. That is what Nee is saying.
Yeah.
The culture. Me, my house, my boy child sweeps. He grind pepper. Yes. So
that's good.
You're such a boy, and when you are married to him,
that is it.
And you are late as a woman from work, you can take care of
He
That is it.
understands the values. Yes.
International Women's Day, Saturday. Happy International Women's Day to every woman. But please, let's look at the boys as well. Okay, it's time. At first, it was the men were up there and the girls were down there, so we're trying to balance things up. Right now, it's as if there's an imbalance. We're not looking at the boys. The boy child. It's time we do that. All right, so now let's zoom in. Let's zoom in. We are not here to do social commentary, but it's also needed, right? We are in the world. Okay, so now Ikia, just summarize for me what we did last week, and then we'll continue from there.
Thank you. Okay, I think last week we learned something about contracts. We said a contract is a legal binding agreement between two or more persons, which the law will enforce. And then we talked about the law can enforce it if there are some ingredients. And we talked about offer and acceptance. We talked about consideration. We talked about legality. We talked about capacity. And then the intention with which you are creating the contracts. And then we talk about mortgage. We said the mortgage is a debt pledge. And we talk about the two instances why we say it's a debt pledge. Because at the end of the day, if you are able to pay the investments, your property moves back to you. Or if you are not able to pay, it goes back to the lender who has lent you the money. And then we talked about agency. And then we said that the relationship between an agent and then the principal, he also contracts on behalf of the principal. And then we talked about how you go about a business. When you get the business, you go and register with the Registrar General. There's a need for you to come to your constituency, the assembly that is within your constituency, to also take some of the permits there. Depending on the business that you are doing, that will also determine the permits that you will be given. The health permits, the EPA permits, and all those permits that you need to enhance your business. So basically, this is a summary of what we did.
Okay. Thank you so much, and a very good summary. So, Nee, you did listen to us. You were under the weather, but you did listen to us.
Yes.
What we want to add to it, and then I'll move into this.
Yes, I like the angle with which Ikia has really touched on, and so yes, for listeners, I mean, as a business person or an entrepreneur, one of the things that, like Ikia mentioned, you always have to know that for your business dealings, you have to have some forms of contracts in all aspects of the business. So if you're an entrepreneur, you've started a business, or you're already running a business, or you're even aspiring to run a business, there are different aspects that you'd have to look at. And Ikia mentioned that one, it has to be legally binding. The agreement has to be between, so you, the one that is owning the business or running the business, and the other party, and then it has to be enforceable under the law. And so if you are running a business, just know that you have to, one, consider the areas in which you'll be dealing with various stakeholders where there's going to be a contract. You'll be dealing with your suppliers, one, you'll be even employing people who will be working with you. And so there will be some forms of a contract that has to come in. There will be some areas of lease payment. So if you are either renting the place that you are or you are owning the property, there will be some contractual agreements that you have to even go about it. If there's a franchise agreement, these are all areas that we want to open up to in terms of how the contracts can actually be done. But what I actually want to also add is that in this whole issue of contract, it's once it's actually written, then of course the law would enforce that to protect you, the business owner, which is very important. But one would ask that, what if there are instances in the business where probably the contract is actually oral? What becomes the evidence for which the court will be able to protect you? So those ones, as a business owner, it's either you have some forms of recordings or you have a witness. And sometimes, even by virtue of how you even conduct yourself, it can be implied. And that can even, for example, you are running a business and then you have probably an artisan coming to fix something in your office, and then you would say that, oh, please speak to maybe Kojo to be able to get this thing done. By virtue of that instruction that you have actually given, there's some element of implication which would actually make it implied. Or let me use, for those who run a restaurant, now, if I visit the restaurant and I'm coming to eat, I come in, I place my order. Naturally, I tell you I want ABC food. You come and serve me with the food. After the food is served and I've eaten, I'm supposed to pay. So by implication, that's some form of contract that has actually been executed. So that's just what to add on the business side of things. And then I just want to encourage that for the business, those who are running businesses and entrepreneurs, you have to be cognizant of all these areas and the key stakeholders that you're actually dealing with. Employees, even in areas of financing. As you are running your business will begin to grow, and there will be some forms of financing that you'd have to require. And those areas you would have to go into some forms of contract. And that's where Ikea mentioned the loan agreements that you would even have to go in and all of that. And then the lease agreement that you would have to go through. And then the contractors that you deal with in terms of the supply. And then if they are franchise agreements. These are all forms of contracts that we would actually have to be able to deal with. So that's very important. And I actually like the fact of the enforcement that Ike actually mentioned. So for the enforcement of the contract, I just wanted to touch on the aspects where if you are entering into this contract by virtue of running your business, one, what is the capacity of these parties? So capacity is just to say that these natural persons or artificial persons. So for natural person, you would want to ensure that the age is the person supposed to enter into a contract at that. I think in Ghana you have to be above 18 years. Is the person even in the right frame of mind to be able to enter? So that's contract that you are entering in as a business person with any of these stakeholders. You have to ensure that it actually is enforceable. And so you have to ensure the capacity of the other party that you actually go into the contract. Then the offer and acceptance, which actually also makes it enforceable. Then the aspects of consideration where there's something of value that is actually being exchanged in your business. So if I go into a contract, for example, running a plastic business, and you're supposed to supply me with some form of raw materials, and there's some considerable exchange, then it means that I can actually enforce that contract under the law. So it's important that the legal part that Ike also mentioned, you don't have to do anything illegal, which is not going to be enforced. So you can sign and do all the contract, but if it is not legally accepted within the laws of the country, the court cannot help you. The law will not be able to enforce that. So I think those are the areas of the business that we actually have to be able to look out for. And then by virtue of practice as well, there are times when we have to be able to now outsource some of the things that we do as business people to third parties to act on our behalf. I think Ikea mentioned that takes us to the law of agency. What I want to add to that is that, yes, in business, some aspects. So, for example, if you run a company where you want to outsource for example, the human resource function to an agency to be able to, there's that principal agent relationship that makes you bound, but they are acting on your authority within the scope that you've given to them. So expressly, you have already given that authority. But there are instances where if the agency actually acts out of scope, you've not asked them to do what, so it's like by implication.
What do you do?
Then it means that the agency would now be held liable, or the law allows some forms of regularization, which so that's what I want to touch on. So if you're a business owner, I think it's good to be cognizant of the fact that, yes, if you are going into a contract, make sure that what are the enforceable elements? Are they all present so that the law can protect you? And then also, if you are in the situation where you are outsourcing and actually running under the law of agency, you are working within the scope where the law can continue to protect you as a business owner, and that helps your business to be able to what? Grow, which is very, very important. Yes.
Very. So I think season 4, we delved into companies, the type of companies we have, the type of businesses we have, and how you can establish one. We had the Registrar General rep here and all that, so they helped us with that. But now I want us to look at it from another angle of, let's say you are a private entity, you want to go public. How do you go about it? I'm private, I want to go public. How do I go about it?
Thank you. Normally with private companies, their share, they don't float their shares. That's their shares are not listed on the stock exchange. So the moment you want to move from a private company to a public company, it means that now you want to list your shares on the stock exchange markets, where it means that mostly they do it when they are in need of capital. So the first thing, as we said last week, is that because you have a constitution and your constitution is limited to you being a private company, the moment you decide to go public, there's a need for you to amend the constitution. And by doing that, there must be a resolution that the shareholders will agree that, okay, we are now going public. So when this constitution and the resolution is passed, it is then sent to the Registrar General. That is when the processing takes place.
Yes, and I agree with Equia on that. And just to say that even in adding to the going of the public, I would want to touch on the key financial laws that even viewers must be aware of, that helps us to be able to. So for example, you can categorize these financial laws into the 4 main sectors, okay? So look at the banking sector. So as a business person, you are definitely going to deal with the banking sector. So you have to be cognizant of the laws that regulates the banking sector. So the banks, you have the commercial bank. Even now we have the Development Bank of Ghana, which is very important. And then you have the commercial banks, as I indicated, and maybe you have the merchant banks. Then there's the aspect of the non-banks, where you have the savings and loans and all of that. All of these areas are actually regulated by specific laws. And even within the banking sector, there's the payment and settlement systems, which are also regulated. And so you can have these laws up your sleeves to know how you are operating with these laws. Now, then you move to what we call the capital markets. So the capital market, so all the banking sector is actually regulated by the Bank of Ghana under all those, the Banking Act and all the other provisions that we have. Then in the capital market space, as a business owner, you would also have to operate within the capital market. And in Ghana, the capital market, see the capital market as a financial market where you are unlocking capital by trading security-backed securities between buyers and sellers. Basically, someone has excess money and then he's making that money available for you, a business owner, or the recipient that needs the money to be able to provide some long-term returns for the owner of the business. So when it comes to the capital market, Ikia mentioned the Ghana Stock Exchange. The stock exchange is one. We also have the Ghana Commodity Exchange, which was established in 2018, which is part of the capital market. Before we have the securities and the bonds and all of that. So that's what forms the capital market in Ghana. And the capital market in Ghana is regulated by the Securities and Exchange Commission for all forms of investments, yes. So if you want to invest with an organization that is not registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission, then you would have to be careful. So it's just an education for us to know. That is one side.
To say the men's gold people are trying to say something. Like, well, go ahead.
It's just to say that, just make sure that you have a good understanding of the fact that the Securities and Exchange Commission is the mandated body to regulate the capital markets, which unlocks capital for investors, basically. Then you can look at the pensions industry, which is also regulated. So the capital market is actually regulated by the Securities Industry Act, I think 2016, 929 Act. So that is also there. Then you now come to the pensions industry, where you can also unlock some capital, which is regulated by the National Pensions Regulatory Authority. Okay, which is one of the areas that you can look at. Then you can also look at the insurance section, where you have the life insurance, the non-life, and then the reinsurance. And there are regulations that are actually, so as a business person, you would have to be able to have a very good understanding and segment the financial laws into these various areas and how you operate to make sure that you are operating within the confines of the law, and it's going to help your business to be able to grow. So in terms of going public, I don't know if you want me to still continue.
No, I want to look at the pensions aspect again.
Right.
So these 4 areas you're looking at, it's not just about you making money, it's about you understanding the financial systems. Because it can either be you making money or you paying money.
Yes, exactly. So under pensions, if you run a business, you have to pay, the law ensures that you pay some pension requirements like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 for your employees. You'd have to be able to know that. And so it's important that you arm yourself with the law so that once you run your business, what it does is that it protects you, it gives your business a lot more value, and then it makes it more credible to even attract a lot of funding. Now investors are looking for very credible businesses that will protect their capital. And so that education is very important for us to know.
I love how you've divided it into 4. And we'll come back to these 4 again. But going back to the main idea of going public.
Yes. So like Ikia rightly mentioned, going public is actually one of the processes that you have to go through. But in my book, one of the things I captured was business owners should be able to understand the different phases that their businesses actually go through when they're actually developing. So we have, like, for example, the pre-seed phase. So for every business that you are running, so for entrepreneurs and businesses listening to us, the point is that you have to be able to know at what stage that your business is. Because there's a point that you would have to go public. And exactly as Ikia has given us the process of going. But before you get there, you ask yourself, the pre-seed stage is where you have conceptualized the idea of the business, you've done your logo, you're excited about it. Now, at that stage, there's a different form of financing that's actually required. And you are going public because you want to be able to raise capital from the public. And so, at the pre-seed stage, the kind of funding that we usually recommend would be your owner financing. Have your own skin in the game. You can have very good family and friends who would support you. And then we even have angel investment groups that actually support at that stage. Then you move to seed.
Wait. Who are the angels investment groups?
In Ghana, they are angel.
You are one.
Yeah. Angel. So usually angel. So yes, so there are angel investors in Ghana and all over the world. There are angel investors. I mean, if you look at in America, there's one Peter Thiel who actually invested somewhere in Facebook and all of that. Some of these big companies we've seen have had some support from angel investors. In Ghana, there's an angel investor network group that we know.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
No, that we don't know.
Yeah, so in Ghana, there are angel investor network groups that support businesses. Now, when your business is growing...
Oh, Ni, why are you jumping? Relax.
Okay.
So these, who are they? Where are they located? If someone
I've
wants to
captured
join.
the details
In
the book, and that's...
we will buy the books, right? We won't buy the books.
Oh, it's
But
not.
so
It's just to say that they are angel
exist.
investors that exist.
And they have a network in
and they
Ghana.
have a network in Ghana. So
And if you want to join them, or if you want to,
yes,
how do you do that?
You can join them by subscribing to their.
So they have
their
social,
group.
they are on social
Yeah,
media.
social handles and all of that.
Okay.
So it's by way of education.
Okay.
And then also there are government organizations that support, especially with the incubation centers. I've been to a few universities where I've been part of their incubation centers, where winners are given prizes to start their businesses at the pre-seed stage. So from there, then now you move to the seed stage. So the seed
first
stage,
one is the
pre-seed.
Before the seed.
Then the seed stage.
So before you start proper.
You start proper.
Okay,
so now
you started proper.
You started proper
Seed.
seed. What business do you want to do? Your product, you have a prototype to show. Okay. You understand? People are beginning to test your product in a way. Okay, oh wow, this is good. You are getting some small feedback here and there. At that stage, you still continue to have some investments by angel investors so angel investors basically are also very experienced individuals who handhold you to grow your business and then contribute. So mentorship and then support and guidance is very important as a business a person, an entrepreneur that is running to grow your business. Then you'd have to grow gradually, still use owner financing, and then you can look out for grant support. Grant financing is also a very big area where you make sure that the business you are doing is giving the right impact to society. You would be able to go through the process and attract some kind of grant financing to support you at the seed stage. Then you are growing gradually. So now if you are in one region, you are now going to move to 2-3 regions. Then you are moving to Series A. At Series A, the type of financing that you need is also different. So remember, like Akia said, private funds have actually been, so you have some private placement funds coming in at Series A because you are growing. Now you are beginning to see some profits or some form of revenues. And then we call it bootstrapping, where you are using the money that you are making to be able to still develop your business. So bootstrap, use grant financing. Then you can consult a venture capitalist firm. There are venture capitalist firms in Ghana. Venture capitalists can be private or public. So for the venture capital firm, they can help you with experience in both equity and debt financing, sit on your board, direct you, give you some directions and all of that.
And you be paying them?
Well, some can be for voluntary and support and all of that, depending on who you are dealing with. Then when you get to Series B, now you have expanded. You are able to make enough money from the business you are generating. Then you can now start considering some forms of debt financing, like the bank loans and all of that.
You mean to tell me that those who start and they go for loans straight, they are in trouble?
So that's not the process for which,
That's
yes, because then you have to pay your loans from your operational revenues. If you are not making money, how do you pay back the loans? And so that's why banks will do credit assessment to ensure that you're actually making the right operational revenues to be able to finance both the principal and the interest. And then at that point, you see that in finance, there's something we call the weighted average cost of capital, where you are combining both your equity sources and debt sources to maximize the value of your business. At that point, you're already moving to Series C, where you are expanding your business, and now people
Those
know
people
you.
who go to banks for money to do logo.
Yes, please. Start with your own owner financing.
You are not even there yet, I beg.
So you go through the process, then after Series C now, you can decide to go public. As explained by Akia, and then people can buy and participate. The public can buy your shares and participate in the growth of your business. MTN was able to raise, I think in 2018, about $1 billion. Yeah, so the stock exchange.
We are not even getting any money from that thing.
Well,
I don't know. And as an investor, they don't even give you any credit. That thing I don't know.
But I think that the most important thing is that the viewers should know that going public on the Ghana Stock Exchange is actually a reality, it's a possibility, and then the public can invest
Very
into
important.
that business. So really,
Very
that's
important.
how.
So let me ask this question. There's someone home who is saying that, frankly speaking, what you are saying in practice, it's a good story, but most of these people, even the basics to start with, they don't have. So you are saying start with your own money and get your own family, friends, angels to invest in. There's nothing at home. The idea is brilliant. There's nothing at home. So are you saying I shouldn't start my business until I get something?
In my book, there's something I mentioned as abstract capital. You see, the capital is not always physical, which is the financial resources. Once you have an idea itself, it's capital. The fact of the matter is that you have to find yourself in the right network, the right location where you can get the right people to support you. The money is there. It's a myth. You'd have to know how to unlock capital, and that is why mentorship is very, very important. So whatever business venture that you are doing and all the engagement, you have to get a mentor who has gone through that route. It shortens the process by which you have to be able to make some kinds of inroads in the area that you have to. And you must also have knowledge as to areas where you can be able to get these, like aspects of this entrepreneurship incubation programs I've been talking about, even the grant financing, the venture capitalist.
How do you get all these information? Is it, because obviously it's not in the papers.
Yes.
No,
okay,
Anita,
well.
I think that, as Nee said, the mere fact that you have the thoughts
Right.
that you want to establish a business, that alone is capital.
Yes.
You see, the capital need not just be physical. Sometimes the ideas.
So now, okay, the idea is in the head. Now you want to birth it. Okay, and birthing it, we all know that you need some basics. You need the logo, you need those, okay, if you don't have an office crowd, at least you need maybe a letterhead, these basics. You don't have money for these basics.
Yes, that's why Nee said we have people,
the incubators and the mentors.
yes, that can assist.
Yes.
And
So
these
sometimes
ones-
it's also your network.
Your network, very important.
Your
Network is
network.
important.
Yes.
But
It's
with the
very
public
important.
ones, how do you know that these institutions are available?
So I just want to encourage, by way of education, that let's seek knowledge, you see, and it's one of the reasons why let's continue to seek knowledge. And shows like your show are really very helpful in trying to put the knowledge out there. Now we know that there are processes that we have to go through. If I'm looking for a grant, where do I get the grant? If I'm looking for an angel investor, where do I get the angel investor? And most importantly, have your own funds as well. It's very important, because you have to be able to demonstrate to me that you believe in your own idea to the point that you are also able to commit some forms of financial resources to that dream, which is a very good demonstration. And we should, it's more of mindset change and attitudinal change. Let's change our mindset. The money is there, the resources are there, and like Ikia mentioned, abstract capital. Where do I get, at what stage, and where do I attract the funding that I need to be able to grow my business in a legal way in which I'm complying with the laws to grow my business and ultimately attract investors?
Yeah.
That's the most important
And
thing.
I think I agree with what you both are saying, because I remember once there was this man in my church. He's financially, he's there. And I was talking to him once, and he was like, Anita, I have money. I want to invest. I don't even know what I'm going to invest. I'm going on pension. I don't want to do anything giddy. If I get any young people who are smart, who are intelligent, who know what they are about, I don't mind supporting, because at the end of the day, you know, this person will build something and you get something out of it.
Right.
So people really have some money and they'll be willing to invest. But again, the character.
Yes, yes.
You, the person coming for the money. We give you the money and go and buy iPhone. The first thing they'll buy will be iPhone. And so, as you said, there are really people there who might support, but we should also be willing and ready to
and Anita, maybe if I can add,
Ikuya
mentioned on that iPhone note, I recall Ikuya mentioned that when you start a business, there are some legal and compliance things you have to do, like registering with the Registrar General's Department.
Yeah,
and
I think
then
before we did that, right?
Yes.
We did all that.
Now, all those helps you to keep you on track, because there are regulations by which you have to follow in terms of you have to show the stated capital, how much you are registering and all of that. And then also it is going to take you to a process where you must have the right governance structures. So do you have the right board of directors or mentors on the board? Do you even have a board charter which is guiding on how your business is operating? Do you have a business plan? What is the mission, vision? How is the utilization of the funds going to be? So it's not like that iPhone era where you'll be giving the money to go and buy iPhone. It's over. You are regulated, and that's why the law is there to protect. And you can rightly mention that. So the law is protect. So you have to follow the regulations and compliance in terms of business registration processes, utilization of capital, and all of that. Even grants, when you are giving grants, you have to comply with the various conditions.
Yeah.
Yes, you cannot just, and now you go further to monitor
proposal.
Yes.
The long proposal you have to write it before you get a grant.
Yes. But it's important to direct the business and also ensure that we are actually, so complying with law is important.
Having the idea, some people have good ideas, but they can't write. So it means if you have the idea, you should get someone you trust who can really put it on paper for you. Yes. Because the person can put it on paper and you will take it, still the idea.
Yes.
So, it's not easy. But so let me go. That will take me to my next question. Okay. So we have an entrepreneur and business owner. So what are some of the financial laws the person is supposed to be aware of? And who are the regulators, some of the financial laws?
Yeah, so the financial laws was what we mentioned earlier, the four main areas that are actually, as an entrepreneur, you have to know, which we talked about the banking sector, we talked about the Banking Act, then we zoom into the capital market, we talked about SEC, we talked about the insurance, where the National Insurance Commission, and then we talked about the pensions. Yes, but most importantly, going public, you need to understand the operations of the stock exchange and then how that even helps you as a business. Now that you understand the various phases, if you get to the point where you have gotten to the stock exchange, the point is that how do you unlock capital at the stock exchange as a business owner, like we've had some success stories that have been on. So that's where it's important for listeners to understand that on the stock exchange, you have the main market. So the main market is where you must have a company of a certain size, where we have a number of companies that are listed, and then you can be able to list your shares and you have some investors supporting you. But in 2013, it was very important for the country to be able to support entrepreneurs and growing business. So that was where the Ghana Alternative Market was actually also set up at the stock exchange. So if you have a business that is growing, that is actually trying to unlock capital, and you've gone through the phases, you can actually attract capital on the Ghana Alternative Market on the stock exchange. And I think the stated capital is somewhere around 250,000 Ghana cedis, and for the main market is about 1 million cedis. Okay. Then we have the fixed income market that also was set up in about 2015 to also mostly focus on the issuance of debt securities. And so we just want to put the education out there that we can raise capital, going public, understanding how the capital market works, the stock exchange works, and then see where you can position your business in that particular segment, either the main market, the alternate market, or where you have to focus on the Ghana fixed income market to be able to raise money when you have gotten there. So the business growth phases in terms of complying with regulations and laws is actually very gradual and in phases and in stages. And it's important that we understand these stages, and that leads us to grow our business beautifully, and it helps the country to grow. Everybody gets employed, people smile, families make money, and the world becomes a better place.
It does. And so Ikuya, let's look at the angle of persons with disability. This program, we have a very soft spot for persons with disability. So our apologies if need be. So with persons with disability, with all that we've discussed, is there any perks for them, and how do we look at them?
Thank you. I think last week One, I talked about giving permits to businesses before they can operate. You asked a question as to what the benefits from it. I think that what we do is that persons with disability are not left out. We support them one way or the other through paying of their some school fees, and then sometimes through investment in trade. Maybe somebody is already in a business, let's say an ice water business where she sells the pure water. Now she wants to expand the business. So we support that person, maybe get a container, and then we graduate you from just the pure water to maybe bottled water, and then add, let's say, other drinks to it. And then the trade, for instance, like, oh, the person wants to be a hairdresser, the person wants to be a barber, or that kind of thing. So we buy those equipments and then we give it to them. Aside that, let me take you to my office. We have a mushroom center where we train like 40% of the people with disability, so that it's like we are not giving them the fish, but we are trying to help them to do their own fishing.
Teach them how to fish.
That is it. And so we normally train them, and then most of them, we give them the barrels and the equipment that they need. And many of them are producing this catfish, mushrooms and other things. So this is a way of we also giving it back to society.
Are they aware?
Yes, because you see, they have an association, and most of the times we send a message through the association, and then it gets to them.
So if you're a person with disability and not part of any of your associations, it's time you join.
That's it. It's very important.
Very important, because that's where most of these inventions, when it comes up, information when it comes up, because last 2 weeks, we got a person with disability who was asking some few questions about registering a business and all that. I was like, there are lots of perks for persons with disability. Have you spoken to your president? The person didn't even know any of these things.
They have an association.
So I had to link him up with Mr. Alexander, who is the president of the Persons with Disability. So I really believe, I don't know, persons, it's just, God forbid, it's just one accident, and anyone can be a person with disability. So I think it's about time we really are very helpful to our persons. So now let me move on to the next question. And so legal challenges faced by sole proprietorship versus limited liability company. What are some of the legal issues, challenges that face these two institutions?
Well, so maybe what I would say is that even before you register a business, you'd have to know the intent for which you're actually registering the business, because you have to know that by virtue of dealing with different stakeholders, there are issues that would arise that must make sure that you're actually protected under the law. And so, for example, if you are registered as a sole proprietor and there's an issue of liquidation, what happens to your properties and all of that? Or if you are registered as a company that is limited by shares, then what do you tend to lose out for? So the first thing you have to look out for is the issue of liquidation and how that is going to affect you as a business owner and even the stakeholders that you're actually also running the business for and all of that. So that is number one. Number two, you have to look at areas of contract enforcement, because there are different stakeholders you're actually going to deal with, and you wouldn't want to be faced with a number of litigations that are not enforceable. So what kind of suppliers are you dealing with in your business? And even the forms of employment that you are engaging the people on, and also all other relevant parties that are helping you to grow your business. What kinds of contracts are you going in? The key thing which Ikea mentioned, which is very important, is that for whatever contract that you are going in as a business person, make sure that one, it is legally binding, and 2, it is enforceable under the law with all the condition precedents of offer and acceptance and consideration being present in that. And that would help you to a large extent manage some of the legal challenges that you are likely to face. Yes.
Anita, I will also say that, as Ni is saying, most of the times we only think that you need a professional or a lawyer or somebody at the tail end. But I think that when you're embarking on this journey, you need to bring all those professionals together. Sometimes we look at the costs, but it is better you face it now than you wait till there are problems where the cost will become much bigger.
Right.
Let's get our professionals involved.
Right.
They have the experience, the expertise, and all those things. They can direct you. It's not all of them that even charges. Some of them even do it just for free. Anita, for instance.
No, stop.
That's a pro bono. Oh, Anita, that's a pro bono. Oh, wow, interesting.
Last I stopped pro bono last year. I realized, Charlie, mom got hit. You understand? All right, so now let's get some information. So Beverly is saying very educative program. Thank you so much, Beverly. Seventh-day Adventist Church, Medina District. This information is actually helpful. Thank you. Well done. Thank you so much. Zamefe El Supremo Keksi Thy Will says, ideas are good capital. However, you need experts or resource people to support you. Networking is key. Good program for networking. Right. You see, right now, that's the new currency. It's not about that person you need at Registrar General. Can be your friend. All you have to do is call the person, Charlie, I need to register my business. So the person will do it for you. That person you need at a friend is a bank. The person will give you the tidbit. Charlie, my bank is giving some loans for businesses. If you're interested, come and let me help you do it quickly. That person you need, like a queer at the assembly to help you do the registration. It's all about networking now. Now that's the new currency. You understand? Yeah. So sometimes I look at the big churches and I'm like, are you helping your youth? The least you can even do is let them know themselves, let them network, have their names. This person works here, that person works here. So now when I know I'm going to this institution, all I have to do is look at that network list. I know this person's there, the number is there. Call the person, Charlie, I'm from this. We are all in the same church or that. Can you help me? Right. And that's just knowing that you are supposed to pay 5,000 or something. You might not even pay anything for that. Anyway. Fast lead say, I have a lot of hope in Ghana as an entrepreneur myself. I think we have a long way to go with business financing in Ghana. It's easy to get started if you have your personal finances. That's so true. Ata Kwachua says, this is so helpful. It's really, really helpful. Thank you so much. So my time is almost up. My time is actually up. So my last question, then we'll move on. With all the business knowledge and ready to start or continue to do your business, what are some of the primary legal challenges, compliance issues faced by businesses?
Okay, you want to go now?
Okay, will you give it a shot? So looking at your area, what are some of the challenges you think people usually face? And how can they really address them?
New talk.
Okay. They'll give and then we'll give
so in practice, so I'd like to keep it very practical. Just as we've mentioned in our submission, you just want to make sure that your business is properly registered. That is the first thing. 2, you just want to make sure that you have instituted the right governance processes. So you have the right structures, the board of directors, right management. Okay. So now you also want to ensure that you have instituted the right internal institutions that would help to be able to help with the various compliance and then standard operating procedures. Now what that does is that it helps you to continue to monitor the exact things that you are supposed to do as a business, so that if you are faced with any issues of going against any legal provisions within the industry that you find yourself, you are always prepared, just like an auditor coming to audit a process within your organization, where the auditor is ensuring that you have the right standard operating procedures for processes, and are you complying and ensuring that these things are done? I think that's the first step that every business owner and entrepreneur should be aware of, that once you have done all of these things, and like Ikia rightly mentioned, you have the right provisions and requirements, you should be safer on the law. Even tax is also another area that you even want to even look at, which is also separately. And if you don't actually understand and comply with the right provisions, you might find yourself on the wrong side of the law, which would really not be. So it's good to know, and so educate yourself, understand the processes, comply with the various standard operating procedures, and that would really, to a large extent, help and save your company a lot of financial resources when legal issues even have to arise. And just to finalize, just look at areas around supplier contract engagement, around premises contract engagement, whether lease or buy, is very important. And also look at areas around your employment contracts, how you are engaging people, whether they are permanent or they are contracts. What does the law say, so you don't find yourself wanting with the law in the wrong areas. And also for financing areas, you have to also make sure that if you have gone into some contractual agreements where you have gotten to Series B, and you've gone for some forms of debt financing or a mortgage financing, whichever way it is, are you complying with the provisions and terms, where you would not find yourself on the wrong side, where I think Akia mentioned that your property can be taken over by the lender in this case, and all of that, which would really not be helpful.
Anita, I think that whichever business that you want to establish or you are going into it, there are laws governing them.
Right.
So you need to take time and then get to know the laws that surround the business. Once you are able to comply with those laws, I don't think you have issues.
So educate yourself.
When you don't understand, that is why the professionals are there. Sometimes we tend to be jack of all trade, master of none.
Very true.
Everybody, I always say that when you went to school, you saw some of the courses, but you decided that your passion is here. Another person also said, my passion is here. All of us will complement each other. So if you are taking this way and you need this person to complement you, don't hesitate. Don't say you can be do the person's
because you don't want to pay. All right, so I'll find out what. Actually, my time is up.
Absolutely.
So under a minute, final word.
Under a minute, I think.
Actually, 30 seconds.
So I'll say that law, really, so the law, learn. When you learn, you apply, and then you work. That's something I want to leave with viewers. So there's some, keep it in your mind that learn, like Akia is saying, learn everything you have to learn. A, apply. W, work. Do the business, start the business, get whatever you want to do. And I think that
learn,
apply, and work. That's my final words on the show. Yeah.
Okay, Anita, I am going to look at it from this angle. This year's Independence Day, 68th Independence Day, the theme is reflect, review, and reset. Coming to our own, you have to study yourself. This year, we have set targets. We have attached strategies to the targets that we have set. We shouldn't sit down till the end of the year before we reset ourselves.
Right.
Every month, every day, every week, get to know this business that I have established. How is it going? Do I need to review my strategies? What should I add to it? What should I take away from it?
Right.
How should I reset it? So that at the end of the day, the target that I've set, I'll be able to accomplish it. I think we all need to look at these 3 hours for this year. And I think when we do that, as individuals, we are going to achieve our targets, and which at the end of the day is going to help Ghana achieve the targets.
Amen. Praise the Lord. We move to the spirits, please. So please, it's not just about legal. We are motivating you too. Yeah. Okay. So we are not just here to talk law, no. We are also here to let you know that that dream need not be a dream anymore. You can start it. So please do something, okay? So if nothing at all, and for this phase you think you don't have money, just tell yourself, I'm going to do the networking. Know people where they are working. Make friends. Good strategic friendship. Not the ones you go and drink beer with on Fridays and nothing comes out of it. Because those people go and drink beer Fridays, they're networking, you know. By the time they leave, they are holding their cards. Everyone has share exchange cards. But you go to church on Saturday and you leave on Saturday. The person seated next to you, I don't know where the person was. You don't know anything about the person. You are looking for a business opportunity. I don't know that person was seated by you last week could have helped. Charlie, let's work on that, okay? So next week, same time, we are going to discuss investment and debt collection, okay? And we are going to have me back, and then we are going to have a lady from, well, she's coming. You get to meet her. So let me just say, the 3 hours and the law, you know what we said. Make sure you apply it this year. Don't let the year end and we are back to square one. Until next week, it's adieu from us. Thank you.